Alright, so I'm going to make this short. I've had quite a few people ask me about these Android radio units in a Tahoe, Escalade, Yukon, whatever. Especially with the large 44 pin connector here. Almost every Android radio you will find on Amazon will specify that it is not compatible with this style connector. That's actually completely false, because the radios themselves have absolutely nothing to do with the connectors. They're all the same. The problem lies inside the canvas, this thing here. So if you have this 44 pin connector right here, I'm not going to unhook it, but you know what I'm talking about. You need the GMSS05. All right. This one here is through a company called SimpleSoft, and it's rebranded by a Navi, I believe it is, which is the same company that I used for my head unit. I bought the head unit off of Amazon, and they were sold out of the canvas on Amazon, so I ordered the canvas and the harness on AliExpress. It's about 30 to 40 bucks. Now, when you hook this up initially, you will have no sound, just like all of them, especially if you have I believe it's the Y90 or 91 Bose system, because it requires a digital signal to turn on the amplifiers. So what you need to do is this specific green wire right here, right? You need to run that green wire to a 12 volt switched power source that turns on when the vehicle turns on and off when the vehicle turns off. So you can use a red wire coming off of the back of the head unit, which would turn on and off as well. Or what I did was use the blue remote wire coming out of the back of the head unit that was 12 volt. And what I did was just soldered all of them together, put a wire connector on it with a male end. That way, if I ever decide to add a secondary amplifier, then I can just put the female end on the remote wire and plug directly into this, and everything should turn on at once. Now with the unit on, you go into device info. In here, you'll see your different versions for whatever. Alright, factory codes for most of these units is 6 zeros. And here you'll see, where is it? The SimpleSoft GM Tahoe XP02, and that'll be the canvas that I'm using here. And everything I have seems to work perfectly fine with this setup. And just for proof, the radio. Steering wheel controls also work. A little funky sometimes. So that's basically it. It's a very simple process. Again, almost every Android radio you find on Amazon is going to tell you that they are not compatible with these vehicles. That's only because it does not ship with a proper harness. If you order this harness, you can use any stereo that is Android based with the 16 pin connector that you want. And all you will have to do is connect the green wire from the harness to a 12 volt switched source. It needs to be switched, because if not, then your amps will remain on all the time and you will have a dead car battery. And with that being said, I will state that I did try the Eonon head units, which typically they're kind of my go-to for Android because they seem kind of premium. The issue with those on the 44 pin connectors is your default beeps for anything that you touch is extremely loud. the gain levels are set too high, and there is no way to turn it down anywhere in the settings that I could find, because you're using a speaker level output to the amplifiers. So it's just, from what I've read, they tend to have a higher voltage. So if you choose the Enon units, you can disable the beeps. However, you will get a hissing noise, almost like when you turn something up full volume. Whenever you have no audio playing, you can hear the hissing coming from the speakers. You will get that from the Enon units, 2 of which that I tried it with. So I'm not saying I recommend the cheaper units, but in this case, I do recommend them, because they tend to just function better for these vehicles. I also did replace my Bose speakers with power-based speakers. It uses 2 ohms in the front of this vehicle and 4 ohms in the rear. And one of the benefits to that is they are direct OEM replacement speakers that are 2-way. And the rears are actually 6.5s instead of the factory 5.25s. So there's no point in playing audio over the recording here, because it's all going to depend on what you're playing it back on. I will say they sound significantly better, way more crisp, and I highly recommend them for anybody looking to do a facelift for the audio system in their vehicle. Alright, so here these are, in case anybody was wondering. You can find these on Amazon. They're $120 a set, and the model numbers are 652GM2 for the 2 ohm versions, and 652GM for the 4 ohm versions. And that's all I really have to say about this. It took me a little while to kind of figure everything out, especially with the wiring of the head unit itself. I plan on just posting this on YouTube for some general information, because I spent months trying to research it and could not find all of the information that I wanted in one place. And if any questions, comment below, and I'll try to post some links for the stuff in this video. No affiliation, just some random dude trying to help people out. Have a good one.